Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick video about me and why I started Divine Intuition and what our goals are with this page and group. Um, so since I was a kid, I grew up Catholic, didn't really have any spiritual outlook on anything, but when I was 7, I started hearing voices and seeing spirits, and I wasn't really sure what to do with it then. It actually really scared me, and I didn't have anyone to really guide me on that aspect of what was happening. So it was more just kind of pushed to the side, ignore it, it's not a big deal type thing. But it always happened my whole life. And then throughout my whole life, I kind of just knew things, and I knew what was going to happen and how certain situations were going to turn out. My mother would always ask me how I felt about a situation coming up or a person that we were talking to or doing something with, and I was always right in the end. So, and my mom would always tell me growing up, I trust your gut. I want to know your opinion and what your gut says. So, I didn't really turn to a spiritual type life until much later, in my mid-20s. Growing up, I was always with horses and animals, and I thought that I wanted a big barn with horses to train and show and clients to teach and lessons and all that. And that was my big goal in life. That was all I wanted. So I worked my whole life on getting there. But I always struggled with anger and anxiety throughout that entire process. And I tried pharmaceutical meds and doctors, counselors, psychiatrists, things like that. And it was like nothing was working. Nothing really helped to ease what I was feeling. So I did finally accomplish my dream, or what I thought was my dream at the time, of owning my own barn and business and training horses and going to shows and having clients. And I got some really great friends out of it for a while. But the anxiety was still there, and the voices I was hearing, the sounds I was hearing, the spirits I would see. And I spent so much time and energy trying to block it out and act like it wasn't there. And it was the more that I did that, the worse that it got. So everything in my life kind of started to fall apart all at once. At least that's how it felt. And towards the end of me owning my barns, I ended up getting Lyme's disease. And I was hospitalized for 2 weeks and became paralyzed on my left side. And doctors told me that I would never recover. I would never live a normal life again. And I would never have another baby, anything along those lines. So it was very disheartening to hear that I was really thinking my life was over. So we ended up, after about 8 rounds of antibiotics, and things just weren't getting better. I was able to function, but I was still sick. I couldn't do daily activities. And we ended up seeking out a holistic doctor who, within a matter of 3 months, had all my symptoms gone. And that really intrigued me. And I was healthy and I was great again. But the anxiety was still there. I still had the underlining problems that I had my whole life. And so after that, I ended up having a falling out with some pretty close friends and clients down at my barn, and losing one of my barns at the time. And it was like everything was just starting to fall apart more and more in the business. And I finally ended up letting it go because things got to a very drastic point to where I lost my best friend at the time, and I lost clients, I lost horses that I had rescued that meant a lot to me. And it got to a point where everything blew up so bad I was looking at jail time. A lot of things had happened that I couldn't figure out how I got there. and I fell into a very deep depression with a lot of anxiety. And I wouldn't get out of bed. I had 2 little kids at the time, and I was pregnant. And I wouldn't get out of bed. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to go anywhere. And I just felt like I had lost everything, and I couldn't figure out why. So when I was at my lowest, it was one of my friends had told me that I should go to see her channeler and maybe get some guidance and insight of what was going to happen. And I was so worried about the court case, and I was so worried about if my baby was going to be okay, because I was so stressed, and I became a high-risk pregnancy with this baby. And I just felt I was losing everything. So I've always been very open-minded, even though I was raised in a Catholic setting. I was never religious. I was never actually practicing being a Catholic. It just never resonated with me. It never made sense. And if I ever questioned anything, I was always told it was a sin to question it. It was a sin to just not believe. And that never felt right to me at all. So I ended up going to this channeler, and I didn't tell her anything. I didn't want to tell her anything. And she actually pinned in on everything that I had gone through in my life, and had told me that I was an empath, and not just of this world, but also the spiritual world. And being an empath, you take on the feelings and emotions and even physical pains of other people, depending what type of empath you are. And that all very much resonated and connected with me and made a lot of sense. And she told me that if I didn't start to embrace my abilities of being an empath and being a medium, my life was going to get a lot harder, because I wasn't following the path of what I was meant for to do here. And I had asked her about the court case, and I asked her about my baby, if the baby would be fine. And at the time, I didn't know what the baby was, boy or a girl. And I was actually finding out that night, and she kept saying she. And sure enough, at the ultrasound, she ended up being a girl. And seeing that ultrasound was actually the biggest turning point in my belief, because it was so right. And she also told me, the court case was, I was going to be justified and found innocent, and it wasn't even going to go to trial. And about a month later, I got a call from my lawyer that everything had been dropped. So it really turned my beliefs to the spirituality of everything that I had experienced growing up and dealing with was all true, and it was all right. And I really wanted to proceed forward with it and find out what my purpose and what my path was here on this world, on this earth, and what I was meant to do. So I started reaching out to more spiritual people and asking for help and asking for guidance, and I met some of the most amazing people that have really helped me along this journey. And as time went on, I raise rabbits now after I did the horses, and some of my rabbits started falling sick, and we couldn't figure out why and what was happening to them. So I would go out in the barn, and I would hold them, and I would just sit with them with my hands on them, and I would pour the love out through my heart to these animals, and they started getting better. And I wasn't giving any medication. I wasn't doing anything special. I was just pouring love out to these rabbits. And I ended up talking to another shaman about it, and he had informed me of energy healing and how it works and what it's used for. And it really clicked with me. I really liked it, and I started learning more about it. And I actually went so far as to get my level 1 Reiki certification, which was great. It was an amazing learning experience, and I do plan to get my level 2 and really proceed with that. I've seen amazing, just miraculous healing done through Reiki and just energy. And so I started realizing that everything in this world, everything around us is all energy. So at that point, I wanted to really embrace my psychic mediumship abilities as well, and learn how to deal with those, because it had gotten so bad. The more I ignored it, the worse it got. And these spirits would just hound me morning and night. And I mean, I couldn't sleep. And that was a lot of my anxiety, and a lot of my anger actually wasn't mine. It was coming from actual spirits that needed help. And so I started learning about that, and I started really embracing it and working with it. And as I did that, things got better. And so then I started to get a little broader outside of family, and I would go to friends and, you know, ask if I could give them a reading. You know, can I practice a little bit? And then they would tell their friends about it, and these were people that I never met. And they would say, wow, you're dead on. This is amazing. You've helped me so much. And having that feeling of helping these people was just so fulfilling. It was more fulfilling than anything that I had ever strived for in my life. And it was then that I really learned my purpose here of helping humanity and helping everyone here kind of see the bigger picture of why we're here and how this universe works. And also bringing clarity and peace of mind to people through intuitive guidance with their guides, and also speaking with loved ones that have passed that are still with them and guiding them. So that was very major, and I'm very thankful to have my family who is also very into this. We all have kind of our own abilities, and I do believe everyone possesses these types of abilities. It's just a matter of going through the spiritual awakening, which is very hard. It's all energy, and some people have harder awakenings than others, and it depends how much you resist it. I resisted a lot. My husband's awakening was a lot easier than mine. Not that he didn't have struggles, and not that he still doesn't struggle, but mine, I went through a lot of anxiety and depression as to where he didn't fall that low. So everyone is very different in that. So my whole goal with this group and business that I'm trying to create is to really help people and to bring awareness as to why we're here and what we're here to do. And that's really to bring more love to this world. There's so much hate, so much anger, so much negativity, and I've truly learned that it's all about how much positivity and love you put out through your heart to bring the most that you want out of this life. So that's why I started doing intuitive readings and channelings, guidance, trying to bring more awareness to people. And I'm so excited to see what is going to happen and how big this can become, because there's so much we can do. There's so much happiness in this world. We just have to see it and bring it to light. So I appreciate everyone that has reached out. I love all the readings I've been giving to everyone. You guys have all been great. I also appreciate your patience. It's been so many people coming at one time. It's been a lot to get through, but I absolutely love it every day. This is absolutely what I'm here to do, and I enjoy every minute of it. So I cannot wait to hear more from you guys. Please message me, email me, write on the page, comments, everything. I love hearing from you guys, and I'm still offering readings, so get a hold of me, and I look forward to doing more videos for you guys here in the